Hey everyone, it's Robert Lee here, and I'm here with my good friend David Curtis. Or do you like to be called Dave? David?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Whatever.
That might come up again.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, earlier, a couple weeks ago, I had a friend come in, and we were just like talking, just things in general. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to be able to bring you in here, just because we work together, as well as it's always neat to be able to talk shop and learn behind the creative process. So
Yeah.
one of the things I was interested in, I know that we were talking earlier about, when you put yourself out there and performing in terms of going for roles and stuff, and I'm just curious in the creative process as to like what you do to get prepared for it, as well as trying to be careful not to get your hopes too high, but also be optimistic when you go up for shows.
I'm glad you asked that question, because I remember I did this. It was probably one of my biggest auditions for. There's a movie called with Mel Gibson. I'm totally blanking on the title. The Edge of Darkness with Mel Gibson. It was filmed here in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. I went and I auditioned for. It was Martin Campbell. He was the director of the Daniel Craig James Bonds. He was the director of the first one, and I had no idea he was there. But when I got it's called a side. When you get the advanced copy of the script, it's just your line. Well, not just your lines, but it's a scene that they send to you. And I spent so much time on that scene. Yeah. It was for a detective, and I really knew that scene backwards and forward. This was probably the first time that I really put a lot of effort into it, and I really, really nailed that scene. And then when I went to audition for him, I didn't know that the director was going to be there. This guy's like big Hollywood director, and I was like, oh my God, he's here. But I was like, okay, Dave, don't freeze up, just do your job. And I really did my job. And he goes, he's from Britain. He goes, that was good. You're actually really good. And I was like, yes. I was like, thank you. But the feeling that I had was I went there and I did a great job. And that's, as far as I was concerned, that was it for me. I impressed that director whether I got hired or not. Yeah. And I didn't get hired for that part, but I got another part in the movie, because he wanted to hire me, but it's just there was another Hollywood person that got the part that I auditioned for. Okay. So from that point on, I made it a point to always go in and audition, do my best, and leave, and don't ever think about it again. Because that keeps you from the heartache and the heartbreak. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it sounds like a Seinfeld episode where George leaves the office just on a high note when he tells a good joke and decide not to push it.
Yeah, exactly. The same kind of deal.
But it's got to be hard because it's not until you get in front of the decision makers, directors, producers that they can see firsthand your talent. Right. When you don't have the opportunity to promote yourself,
you do stuff like this. Yeah. And you do stuff like, it's funny you mention that because, how can I put this without sounding like I have a huge ego? I think I'm an okay actor. Okay. I think I can do, any part that, that I'm brought to. I think I can do that. And once I have it and rehearsed and practiced, I think I'm capable of doing it. I've been doing it for about 20-something years, professionally about 10 to 15 years. Right. And so, I've been in a lot of situations where I can handle it. So on that note, I find myself not being hired a lot for the stuff that I really would like to be hired for. Yeah. But what I do is what I've done is I've started writing my own stuff that I would like to see myself in, and I'm going to start shooting it in a couple of weeks.
So, are you at liberty to divulge what you're shooting, or?
Well, I'll put it this way: it's not a dramedy, but it's a drama with a little comedic moments. It's about two cops based in Boston. Yeah, that's about. Yeah, and the premise of the story, it's a series that we're trying to do the pilot for, me and another colleague of mine, right, by the name of Sean Fitzgibbon. Okay. Shout out to Sean. So yeah, we're going to be filming that in the next couple of weeks, and I decided, I had these scripts that I was writing, And I decided, wow, I think this is funny.
Yeah.
And there's some drama elements to it as well. And I decided, well, maybe I should try to shoot this. And I showed him to Sean, and Sean goes, oh, this is great. I was like, really?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, this is really good. So I was like, okay, let's try to shoot it. So on that end, I'm trying to play the producer
Yeah.
and the script writer and the possibly the sound engineer.
Right.
And, you wear all these hats, but I love every aspect of,
Right.
of being behind the camera.
And do you find, in terms of getting the word out, like in terms of whether it's promoting it or just crewing up and stuff, like what effective medium do you find has helpful? Whether it's do you use like social media? Do you use shoot videos similar just to like get the word out? Or
Probably. Well, yeah. So social media is great when you have a product.
Yeah.
You have to make the product first.
Right. Yep.
So that's me, the type of person I am. I would rather have my product speak for itself and then try to promote it, as opposed to telling people, hey, there's going to be something coming up.
Right.
It's going to be good. Get ready.
Right.
I want to have the product ready and maybe have snippets of it. Hey, be on the lookout for this. We're going to release this, something like that, so they can give them a little tease.
Does the timing kind of throw you off because the amount of work that goes into creating the snippets to then getting the word out to then, depending on the needs of the project, like the changes and stuff?
Well, being that this is, this is kind of one of my first self-helmed products, projects rather.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm kind of winging it.
Yeah.
So this is not in my wheelhouse. It's probably more in your wheelhouse as far as like the whole social media and getting the word out. So I'll be hitting you up in a little bit, Rob.
Well, just don't use don't borrow the bat from Nagin with the Lucille, because I'm still recovering a couple of dents here. That's why I wear my hat. Oh, probably because I didn't comb my hair. But anyway, but no, it's always a challenge, no matter what medium it is, to whether it's getting the word out or just like getting the type of support or the resource and stuff like that.
Right.
And I'm always fascinated as to like to find out, like in terms of not only the creative process but the amount of work in terms of using the tools to to help meet the goals and the I was gonna say project, but I don't think that's the word. But in terms of pushing things ahead. So.
Yeah. I mean, what I found daunting, and I'm getting better at it,
Yeah.
is the pre-production process. That's something that I've learned with working with you, and it's like, the good news is that I'm also a musician, so I know what it's like to do the pre-production when it comes to music. So I took those skills and kind of translated it to video, and that kind of helps a little bit. But there's a lot of work because you're dealing with sound and picture and all of the items that you need, from props to gear to people to helm the gear,
Yep.
to people to edit if I don't edit it myself. It's so many moving pieces, even for like a little 5-minute thing.
Right.
There's a lot that goes into it.
And I'm curious, like the thought process as to like what you found was similar to like pre-production for music to video, and what you saw was like a big difference.
Well, it's that old saying. Who was it? I think it was Benjamin Franklin, who said, "If you fail to plan, your plan will fail."
Oh, I thought it was just more like ow when he got electrocuted.
But rim shot here.
It's all good. But I thought this would be a nice natural break where in an earlier segment with another colleague, what I did was we used like a Google